everybody for joining us. I'm going to play something that I found this week to be very interesting. Welcome to WEED Wednesdays, produced by International Broadcast Media, better known as IBM.TV. I'm your host, Jeff Eichen, human rights advocate and social activist, fighting for government deregulation of weed and the release of all nonviolent criminals incarcerated for possession of marijuana. Moving violations, parking tickets, IRS debt, etc. Here on WEED WEEDsday, we keep the public informed about all things weed related, including festivals and legislation surrounding regulating the growth of hemp. Today, my guests are...
There's something happening here. There's something happening here.
So thank you, everybody. It's really a pleasure to have you all with us today. And we are going to be having a ball today. Actually, I don't have my hemp ball. I left it at a restaurant, but they do make hemp concrete, and I have a hemp concrete ball coming to me. And so have a hemp concrete ball and make houses out of hemp and grow hemp and use it for medicine. And nobody should be in jail for a plant. So there you go. No man-made substances very much in my body, especially medicine. So I love the natural, and I'm going to fight for it for the rest of my life. And today I have a recording I want to play for you that I found while listening to Amy Goodman on Democracy Now! Listen to this gentleman. He's down in Otay Mesa, and he's a foreigner, and he is talking about COVID and what's going on in the prisons down in San Diego. So listen to him for a second. It's a little bit difficult to hear him, but get the main gist out of it, and then we'll talk about that today also. So here we go.
One that would help me out, they got those numbers. They making sure that we have you watch specific shows they want to watch. We're not allowed to speak to other detainees and different units. It's like having their foot on our necks. They're not allowing us to do the things that need basic. Our right is violated. Our First Amendment right is violated. So if you have filed a letter to let them know to cease and desist because they're not supposed to do that. So basically now they are allowing us to speak to the resistance. They can. So this is not the United States of America. Once you arrive here, you will basically have no rights. That's what they're telling us. This is civil detention. It cannot be. We are both in the world. We are all in a world that none of us have lived before. So it cannot be business as usual, And I cannot just ignore basic dignity and us being in here where we could be on ankle monitors with our family. There's no reason why they should keep us in here unless profiting from our social.
You're calling for Otay Mesa to be shut down, Anthony?
Yes, because we don't have to be here. We all could be home with our family on ankle monitors to fight our cases on the outside. What's the point of being in here if we're just not for profit?
Anthony Alexander, we want to thank you so much for being with us. Longtime U.S. resident. and Haitian immigrant jailed at Otay Mesa Detention Center near San Diego since February. Since the coronavirus crisis began, he's led multiple hunger strikes over conditions at the immigration jail, been pepper sprayed along with a number of other of the detainees. ICE has the sole authority. It could simply release the prisoners being held there. That does it for this.
So there you go. I have one more beautiful goodie for you. This is a surprise, everybody. Listen to this. I'm going to make it bigger here. And
There must be some kind of way out of here. Send the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. Can't get no relief. Businessman, drink my wine. Loud and take my ear. No, I'm a level on the line. No, nobody of it is worth. No reason to get excited. The beat he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we have been through that.
so everybody, let's start our show, and let's know that life is but a watchtower. And I'm really blessed to have Stephanie Landa as our co-host. What do you have to say for us, Stephanie? Unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad everybody came. And I'm so glad we're going to hear from other POWs. Of course, I'm a POW too, and Tom's my co-defendant. So we both did time on a case in 2002. And let's start.
Okay, so today's we just heard Alexander from Otay Mesa talk about detention. Detention's the same as being in jail, and they're down in Otay Mesa in a private prison. Okay, and I don't have problems with private prisons. I have problems with the way that we're reforming and that we're using these private prisons to not treat our prisoners with care and with trust. And so he was telling us that during COVID, he has a compromised immune system, and they're not they have masks. They have their masks wherever mine is, and they only have 2 since April, and they have to wash them in their sinks. And so what the hell, when I go to the local grocery store, they hand me one at the door. The bottom line is masks are cheap. Please, let's speak out for our prisoners around the globe to be taken care of during the pandemic, everybody. That's an issue that we're not talking about, and we're not going in massively and standing outside of these prisons that are known to have a large percentage of their people with COVID right now. And just look at the big ships, the cruise ships. Are you joking? They were the worst, and those people are out amongst us now. And so the bottom line is help our prisoners. That's what we're all about, reform on this show. I'm going to start from left to right. Let's start with Kristen. And Kristen Floor, unmute yourself and tell us who you are. And I know that your father was misread, misused, and abused in prison. Tell us your connection to the movement and what your organization does, and then your story. Good morning. Unmute yourself, Kristen. Hang on. Okay. Unmute yourself.
There we go. Okay.
Hey, there we go. Okay. Welcome. Good to see you.
So since we're talking about the COVID virus, I just want to say, you know, I'm very concerned about the prisoners as well, Jeff. Like, my dad died shackled to a bed 7 years ago because he co-owned 5 different dispensaries in Montana, and my mom went to prison as well. So both my parents have been in prison for the plant, which has led to my activism. And I just want to say, you know, since we're talking about COVID, I am part of a group. I'm a board member of Freedom Grow, and we raise commissary money and we help take care of our prisoners, like literally in the front lines with things that they need to survive in there. And I'm really good friends with a prisoner out there by the name of Richard DeLisi, who's about 72 years old and has been in prison for over 30 years. And he's down in Florida where the virus is really, really bad. And he's been in prison for our plant. And if he gets the virus, it would be devastating. But I'm really excited to announce the Last Prisoner Project is helping him with a lot of his needs trying to get out. Like they're trying to get him out as we speak. So there are really good positive things helping out there with our prisoners. So I just want to just everybody keep them in their thoughts, and if, you know, you can write to them right now, it would be really great.
And what is the portal for people to write to?
Well, I just want to mention we're getting ready to launch our Freedom Grow Forever website, and that could come out any day now. And on that website, we're going to have links to turn into pen pals with them. In the meantime, if you just email any of us on this call right now, we can hook you up with a prisoner and get you their addresses personally. So
okay, fantastic.
If you are interested, let us know immediately, and we can get you the information that you need.
And which is your favorite site to have a list of our pot prisoners? I mean, is it Beth Curtis? Is it Amy? Is it?
Oh, all there. Well, let me just tell you, our
Adela?
website's coming out. Our website, freedomgrowforever.org, is coming out within the week or two, and we are teaming up with Amy Kova from Can Do, and we're taking our cannabis prisoner list and her cannabis prisoner list. I think she's got about 22 on hers, and we got over 50 on ours, and we're merging them together. So pretty soon you can go right to our website.
Fantastic.
And sign an online petition asking the president to free our people immediately. So there's going to be a lot of active things you can do on our site, as well as download a letter you can sign and mail to the White House asking him to free our prisoners. It's going to be a really good site for everybody to check out. But in the meantime, yes, definitely go to Amy's site. She has a lot of our prisoners on her site. I think that's the only one that's close to be current, but ours will be out there pretty soon, so you can do ours as well.
Well, we're proud of you. It's really important to have places to go to see these prisoners in jail. Everybody out there around the globe, since most of our Venmos and our PayPals are global, you can help to support us on each of our sites. You can go to individually, and Nugent has Lifers PayPal there, so you can help people like myself to go back into these prisons once we find the doors that are open to interview these people. But it costs money to fly there and to be part of this production team. So support all of our individual teams, Freedom Grow and the Can Do Foundation and Adela's foundation and Beth Curtis's foundation, Life for Pot. They've been at it for quite a while. And John Knock, right over here, let's see, wait, yeah, right over there, I'm backwards.
John Knock right there.
John Knock is Beth Curtis's lifeforpot.com, her brother, and he's been in for 30 years. And it doesn't matter how much pot anymore, or if it was legal back then. It's hypocrisy, everybody, that it's still illegal and that these people are still in jail because there's 33 states that are legal. So yeah.
Jeff, I want to interrupt you real quick. I know Tom here, he's a board member of Freedom Grow, and he's holding up John's sign, and it says that he's serving life, but that's not true. He's actually serving 2 life sentences plus an additional 30 years. So it's a kind of an emergency that we all get on board real fast and people out.
Well, 2 life sentences is a little too cosmic for me because
I don't understand it. I don't know how that's ever going to be.
So when he comes back, he'll have a chip, embedded in him that says, "By the way, baby John, we're going to put you in jail tomorrow, and you're 0." So it's very strange. I just want to share with you my people that I'm working with. That's our beautiful Michael Thompson and Michael Peltier, and I'll bet you do we have a Michael Thompson poster?
Yeah. No, we don't. I was looking.
Okay, that was close. We got Michael.
Yeah, if you guys give me his information, I'll make one up for him.
We got Michael.
I'm in the process of making them for all of our people. We've just got 11 so far.
So Kristen, tell us a little bit about those final days with your dad. That's when I connected with you right after that, and we were in production of Lifers, the movie, and we had our premiere. Yeah. We had our premiere in Seattle. So tell us a little bit about the horrible treatment.
And this is real relevant right now with all of our prisoners getting COVID. The fact that our prisons actually have apps. If you can't work for them and make them turn a little bit of a profit for them, your health care, it's not going to be there. You're just not going to survive. What my dad was going through, which my dad had dementia. He had colon. He was growing colon cancer and didn't even know it. He had multiple. Well, I'll basically just say, he was sentenced. He served a de facto life. He died 4 months into his federal sentence, and when he died with 8 different broken bones. I had to take him off life support while he was chained to a bed. He cried out in pain for over 4 months, telling the nurses that his stomach hurt. They just accused him of faking it. Other inmates are the ones who took care of my dad. After he died, he was on 32 different meds when he went to prison. And when he died, his autopsy only showed about 2 meds. They weren't giving him his heart medicine. When they were transporting him, he had 2 major heart attacks and fell to the ground. Well, he didn't pass away. He survived. He just kept living until I came out there. I had to fly out to Vegas and take him off life support while the federal government had 2 U.S. Marshals watching over him. So after I took him off life support, they pulled the covers off of him, and he was still chained to a bed. And that could happen right now, to this day, to anybody in prison right now who gets the virus, could go out like my dad did right today. Nothing's changed. The prison system's healthcare is still extremely poor. And it really concerns me because Richard DeLisi in Florida, where it's really bad, one of his best friends from the prison, he went up to the 2nd floor, Richard said, and he never came back. They saw him taking him out in an ambulance. He never came back. He died from the COVID virus that he caught in prison. And this could happen to any of our prisoners right now. Right now, they could die like my dad did.
What is your angle for this team? We are team COVID. We're in COVID. What is your angle or your desire to raise consciousness for all prisons with COVID?
I have a lot of hope for our prisoners right now because the last prisoner project, I had 2 of their attorneys. We've been advocating for these prisoners for years and years, and all of a sudden, all these attorneys are here to help the prisoners, and it's mending my heart a little bit, and I think it's helping them. I really think we need to support these types of programs because they're the only ways for freedom for them. I mean, we can write them letters and support them, but that's not going to get them out. The truth is the government has a really hard hold on these laws, and they're not budging. And the good thing is some of our people have been let out. And I truly believe that a lot of the ones that are still there we have a really good chance. But at the same time, we just don't know right now. So we just have to keep working away at it. I'm right now, right when I got off the phone with you guys, I'm getting all these attorneys, a whole bunch of stuff that has to do with Richard DeLisi. So if you have information about prisoners out there and you know that Last Prisoner Project is helping them, get your information and get in contact with them and get it to them because everything helps.
Is that D'Angelo? Is that Jeff?
We need people. We need people to write letters for them as well, to ask to the governors, to the pardons attorneys, clemency letters asking them to free them. So that's the most important thing.
And you said on your new website that you're going to have the everything there for us to sign those letters and to send them to the governors? And
Yes.
underneath each form or each letter, will there be different governors to send those same letters to?
As we go, for right now, we're going to have a petition.
Okay.
And then, like, when I get done with the my Richard DeLisi letter, I'm going to make it so that anybody can download a copy and use it as an example.
Right.
And they can get that from our website. And then we will also have information where they can email those letters. In the meantime, we don't want to wait for our website to be launched. You guys can contact us directly, and we will get you the information you need to write those letters. And we will get them to where they have to go. So just inbox on or any of us here on this call right now.
And if I can be blunt on my own show here, add a cowgirl. That's the way to speak. Don't tell everybody to wait for your website. Keep going now. I really appreciate that. That's really great that you put it in there. So if I can get it straight, your dad was shackled to a bed, couldn't get to the hospital. They refused to do that, or they didn't, and you were there and pulled the plug on him when he was still shackled.
While he was still shackled, my dad was my best friend, and when he went to prison, like while he was in prison, he called me every day, and they thought because he could wake up to get to the phone and beg me to get him some help in there, he thought that they said, oh, he's fine. He's fine, which he wasn't. He was walking around with 8 different broken bones. He broke his clavicle bone right here. He broke 5 of his rib bones. One of his bones over here on the side. And it didn't matter to them that the fact that he could still walk. They wouldn't even let him sometimes use a walker. And that's the thing, is that if you can't make them money, if you can't make it, my dad died in a private prison that the federal government sent him to. And if you can't make money, they're not going to take the money out of their account to keep you alive. They're going to allow you to die a torturous death. So when he died, what was crazy is that my mom was in prison too, because she worked for my dad's medical cannabis company.
They both went to they both went to prison on the same charges?
Yeah, yes. And then my dad's business partners snitched on everybody, and they didn't even have to go to jail, but yet my mom did. And my mom, what's sad is that the night my dad died, my mom called me that night, and my dad couldn't talk or anything because he was on his deathbed. And I had to put my phone up to my dad's ear so he can hear my mom's voice one last time, because they had been married for over 36 years, but separated during their prison stay. And the wardens wouldn't even be let each other write each other letters. And this doesn't just happen to my mom and dad. The stuff is still happening. And I've been giving my heart and soul all this time to change it, but all you can do is talk to people. And if enough people knows, which is kind of why I'm a board member of Freedom Grows, because we're trying to get the message out there that these people are there and these people are suffering, just like my dad did. This is not a rare occasion. Every death in prison is going to happen like that. We have a lot of people serving life that are still in there. If they don't get out, they will die like my dad. They're not going to sit there and give them beautiful health care and give them what they need to survive.
And a lot of these prisoners are elders also.
That was really scares me. My dad was older. My dad was a Vietnam War veteran, 67 years old when he passed away.
God bless him and yourself for doing the good fight, and I like in my walk in my life, I like to change words. And so it's the good understanding instead of the fight, because we're trying to share with what we know to everybody. And like the guy that's talking about the Bible on the street, I walked up to him every morning when I lived in Los Angeles. I said, you don't have to scream God's word. You don't have to scream it. He's screaming the word. So if we find ways and portals and shows like this to have real people, that's what my movie is all about. Lifers Madness, the movie. It's about real people that are not only articulate, but they're passionate, and their hearts are missing their family members that are in jail or that have passed away. So that was my concern, is that a lot of these prisoners have already been in jail for 20, 30 years. They missed all their life and cell phones and computers and beach and pizza. And now we have the opportunity to tell stories about them again. I finished my movie about a year and a half ago, and I put new episodes in there and things like that and add to it. But this is opening my heart to putting the word out more, telling regular people are being affected by this, and not just one. There's thousands of people.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I enjoy working with you all these years, Jeff. You're amazing. I love how you use your cameras to get the word out and get the visualization out there that people are improving.
Well, we just have to. I couldn't find my Lance Glore shirt today, so when you pick out an activist shirt, and it's your TV show, you can say whatever. But I didn't say the word on TV.
I miss you coming on my radio show, Jeff.
Let's
all
do it.
On my show.
Just give me.
I'm honored to be on yours.
Give me. I'm really happy. Thank you so much, Kristen. We're buds, and I'll miss the dunk tank this year.
I know. That was amazing.
HempFest. We love HempFest. Let's do something for them, and they're going to be a sponsor of WEED WEEDsdays. And let's roll over to Carrie Cannon. Do you, oh no, wait a minute. Let's go to our co-host Stephanie, and you get a few minutes to say whatever you want.
Okay, great. So we had a windfall yesterday. Last Prison Project gave us a big donation. It's going to cover like 200 people. So I'm going to start sending out their money, and that was a really good thing. And we can't do this without donations from people. So that's like really important. When our website goes up, you just push that little donate button, and even $1 helps. It all adds up. So we are trying to help everybody in prison get out, and Amy from Can Do is really helping a lot, and she is getting people out. But while they're there, they need money. They really need money to call home, to buy a pair of sneakers, to just do easier time, and they're in for pot. And everybody that's in for pot just is saying, we don't want to be forgotten. We really don't want you to forget us. So Freedom Grow Forever is forever going to support them. And so I think that we should get more money and send them more money, and then I will be happy. I was in jail for years, and when I was in jail, I knew that you needed money to be in jail. It's just like no soap, no detergent, not anything. You can't have anything unless you have money. And if you're in for life, for sure your family has run out of money, and they can't possibly put any more on your books. So we, as a family out here, could take care of all of our hot Christmas. And I would love to move on to Carrie. She's a really great activist, and I love her. She's just like, and everybody is part of Freedom Grow Forever that is on today. And Weldon is going to join us, and he also is going to donate things from his nonprofit to Freedom Grow for us to use the commissary. So this whole program is about Freedom Grow Forever.
Yay, Freedom Grow Forever.
Of course, I was the co-host, and I put everybody together. So that's, of course, I'm going to have all the people that I know that are doing something very good. And Tom also is a board member of Freedom Grow Forever. So let's go.
All right.
And the gentleman sitting next to you, Stephanie, are you allowed to say hi and give us your
hi
give us your
everybody.
serial number and go man.
Well, the thing is that when I was in prison, the prison wanted me to sign these papers in order to get out, that I wouldn't talk to Tom Kikuchi because he's my co-defendant. And they said, otherwise you're not getting out. I said, okay, I'll just stay here. And so, of course, they can't do that when your time's up. But my probation officer also wanted me to sign papers saying that we made each other grow pot. And they didn't want us to associate. But fortunately, they just said, okay.
How about that?
Because I was going to tell my attorney to take it to court. So when
Back
I was on probation, I had LPOP, which I communicated with like 50 prisoners that were in prison. And so I got called up in the probation, and finally they just said, well, okay, you're just giving them hope. So they allowed me to communicate with other felons.
Okay, give us a shout out. Could you?
Yay!
Coochie, give us a shout. Tell us what you got to say. What do you got to say?
Yeah, so I'm a pen pal with one of the prisoners, a friend named Gabriel, and he's in Texas, where apparently things aren't so good with COVID. And the last letter he sent me a couple weeks ago, he was saying that that the prison is keeping everybody in the dark about what's going on as far as infections and all. And that all he knew is that his cellmate across the way was found blue in the face in his bunk, and his bunkmate had to revive him, I guess, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He said he was blue, and they didn't test anything. Nobody's getting tested. Nobody's being told anything about this COVID. All they know is what they hear on a radio, I guess. I think they're locked. He says they're locked down for the last since March. And that's a long time. March, April, May, June. 3 months. Lockdown means you just sit on your bunk. You don't go anywhere. And it was odd that he didn't write to me for 3 months. Maybe he ran out of money.
No one sent the money.
Well, I know, but he might have run out, and that's why he couldn't write, because he couldn't afford a stamp, because we try to send as much as we can, but it averages out to about $50 per inmate at the most, so we can spread it out. You're allowed $450, $500 a month in your commissary, and it doesn't go very far because the prices are inflated for all these things. Like maybe a pencil might cost you $1. You know what I mean? So that $50 we send them, they have other costs. They want to communicate with us via telephone, mail, which entails stationery, stamps, a pen, all this stuff you got to buy.
I heard it's expensive to make calls.
You're out of luck.
I heard it's expensive to make calls.
Yeah, it's
Understatement.
$1 a minute, I guess. And you're limited too. You're only allowed about $100 worth of calls a month. It's monitored. I mean, like I've had many a call just shut off right in the middle of the conversation because you run out of the individual call time, or you run out of your total minutes every month. But they need at least $100 for 100 minutes of telephone.
How long were you in prison?
I had to do about 4.5 years. I split it between Arizona and Portland, Oregon. Sheridan, Oregon.
Where Land Flores.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a camp and a medium security at Sheridan. And I was fortunate enough to be in the camp, but it was no picnic either, It's just life in prison. You have to be able to take care of yourself. They really don't take care of you. All they do is keep you penned up, basically.
And what were your circumstances for coming home?
Well, I have family, and I have some friends, enough friends to take care of me, during the period of adjustment, because when you get out, you're pretty much stripped of everything. And plus, you've been away so long, things change. It's hard to describe, but the second, I had to do my 4.5 in 2 different stints. The first time I was gone for about 18, 19 months, and things hadn't changed that much. So I fell in lockstep more or less quickly. But the second time I was gone for over about 3 years.
Because of the halfway house.
Yeah, the halfway house framed me. I guess I don't know why exactly, but I wasn't getting along with one of the workers there, one of the case people. And for some reason, they decided to fake a test where I tested dirty. After for Coke. And I don't even do Coke, but you know, somehow they were able to doctor the results, and I had to go back and give back a year that I had earned on this drug rehab program that they have, where you get a few months, a year, up to a year knocked off. So I had to finish up my sentence because of that and give that year back. And things really changed in 3 years. It's amazing the rate of change of things, you know, just technologically, like a cell phone or something.
I can't believe your story that you're telling me all this stuff. Like they framed you for Coke and you never did any. It's like,
I know that. I don't know how it's done, but they somehow can get a little dirty sample into your urine sample.
Yeah, look at this. You know, I mean, bye-bye Prince, bye-bye, you know, Tom Petty. I mean, it's just we have to. Yeah, look, we have to read.
Not that friends abandon you, but after 3 years, you know, you've been removed from the scene, and they still remember you every now and then during that period, but you're not a constant presence, and so things evolve without you.
Well, because there's so many grains of sand on the beach, and we are just one of them. And when I was a kid, when I was really tiny as a kid, I would tell my dad, "How many stars are there, man? And how many grains of sand are there, man?" And he would go, "Start counting, Jeffrey." You know, he would just go. He said, "Start counting," and then I realized that every granule of sand created the beach, and every star in the sky created that beautiful Milky Way. And I said, they're all special, and that's why we're getting bombarded with video games, and we're getting bombarded by liars and old paradigm of people in jail for a plant that is God's gift. And that paradigm should be made louder and bring it to the forefront. So the people that are keeping these outdated laws going, we can pop them in 1 second. The gentleman on earlier today that I recorded said that ice could turn that around in 1 second. In 1 second. So we pray globally, since we're on IBM.TV. Thank you, IBM.TV, for this show. We're on Weed Wednesdays. It's Jeff Eichen. I got to put that in there. And you can donate to us at my PayPal and to all the other organizations. But I want to really say that it's time globally, and thank you, IBM, for making us go global, to talk to Portugal, to talk to Uruguay, and find out how those two countries are doing. Portugal decriminalized all non-pharmaceuticals. How can we learn from that? How can we learn from the gay marriage going to the Supreme Court, getting 2 issues taken care of? Just recently, they got gays in the workplace in the last few weeks. So we want to get to the Supreme Court, and we want to have the Last Prisoner Project, but I want to get to the Supreme Court, and I want to help the prisoners coming home by re-legalizing marijuana, and then they can come home to work. They can have work. We're not going to be in COVID for the rest of our lives, everybody. It'll get back to normal. But in the meantime, send me to the Supreme Court, and I'll wear my hemp suits. They're right behind me. And I'll walk right in wearing hemp from head to toe, saying, "Don't mess with me. It's a plan."
I'll video camera you.
It's a plan. You're coming, Kristen. Yeah. You got, everybody will be there. But I want to do, you can see my heart. My heart is just like ready to do Jack's work, Jack Harrer's work. You know, Jack was in my living room writing the revised edition of the Emperors in 1995. I knew Jack really well, and he was a stems and seeds kind of guy. He had a tray out, you know, with Pink Floyd little picture on it, and he would be rolling stems and seeds, and his joints would pop when the seed would explode, you know. So, well, thank you for telling your story. And how do you pronounce your name again?
Kikuchi.
Kikuchi,
Thomas.
Thomas Kikuchi. We are Frabucci to have you. We are fabulously Tucci. We just
I'm
love.
happy to be here.
We loved having you in here. Come again whenever Stephanie's on. You're welcome. And I'll take a drink.
Weldon needs to be on now. Because Weldon is driving. He needs to be on.
Oh, Weldon. Okay, so let's introduce Weldon, Stephanie.
Okay. Weldon is a prisoner that we sent money to for years, and now he has Mission Green, and he's giving back. He did not walk out of prison without wanting to take everyone with him. So that's what he's doing. He's making sure that people get released from prison.
Hello, Weldon. It's Jeff Eichen here from WEED WEEDsdays on IBM.TV. Tell us a little bit about your story, what got you out, what got you in, and how you're feeling today. Welcome. Here, unmute yourself. Here, I'll give you an unmute here. I'll unmute you. Okay, there you are. You're unmuted now. Hi, Weldon.
There we go.
Hi,
okay. Hey, thanks for having me. And thanks for the intro, Stephanie. I appreciate it. I'll give a brief summary of, how I came to prison for cannabis. I was a music producer in the 90s and early 2000s. I was working with people like Snoop Dogg and Tupac Shakur's group. And I was also living in Salt Lake City, Utah, which, doesn't have a big hip-hop scene there. And I was bringing these acts to Utah. And me and Snoop did a song about smoking weed. It was called A Little More Dope to Smoke. And we did a video about it, kind of a stupid, funny video, smoking foot-long joints on tour. And the local authorities got a hold of the footage, and they launched an investigation into my activities, and they sent an informant to purchase cannabis from me, and I sold about $300 worth to a childhood acquaintance who was acting as an informant, and I did that 3 times for a total of $900 worth. And after that, I had got a major record deal. I was, producing songs for big artists. So, I wasn't really trying to sell weed anymore. We were just smoking it. And so I cut them off. And that's when they sent the case to the federal government. And a crafty federal prosecutor was able to take those 3 cannabis sales and turn it into a 20-count federal indictment where I was facing 105 years of mandatory imprisonment, just based off the cannabis and some enhancement provisions that the prosecutor, designed in the indictment. And I went to trial and I lost half the charges and I won the other half, but I ended up with a 55-year mandatory minimum, a sentence so extreme that even the judge, who was a conservative George W. Bush appointee, described as cruel, unjust, and irrational. But he had no choice but to impose it. And so he called on the president to commute my sentence. And of course, George W. Bush didn't commute it. And so I stayed in prison for 13 years fighting and building a coalition of supporters to get me out. And when Obama was elected, we petitioned for clemency to him. And I had Senators Mike Lee and Cory Booker and Rand Paul and a few others write letters on my behalf. And a few celebrities had my back, like Alicia Keys, Bonnie Raitt, Snoop Dogg, Mike Epps, and a bunch of other people put some pressure on the White House. And then the Koch brothers actually picked up my cause and, met with my sister and, also lobbied the White House. And finally on May 31st, 2016, I was released immediately that day. And I hit the ground running. I started filming a documentary with Mark Wahlberg about my story and what I'm doing. And then I started working on legislation with the White House, with the Trump White House, with Mike Lee and with the Koch brothers and with Van Jones. And it ultimately became the First Step Act. And, it was an amazing piece of legislation for being a first step. And, we reformed a number of drug mandatory minimums, including the federal 3-strike provision, the statute that got me 55 years, we reformed that and a few others. And, on December 21st, 2018, we got the law passed. And, we were celebrating in the White House. And I realized my good friend Luke Scarmazzo, who I served prison time with and who I wrote his clemency petition, and I actually, helped get Ricardo out, his co-defendant. This provisions did not benefit Luke one bit. And that's when I'm like, this is the category of offender that's most deserving of release, and this doesn't help them. And so I decided to launch what's called Mission Green. And Mission Green basically brings, all my political contacts with my contacts in the entertainment industry to work on clemency for cannabis, people in prison for cannabis. I don't like calling them prisoners. So people in prison for cannabis, we're working with the White House directly, with Jared Kushner's office, who is over the clemency program, on getting these people out for clemency. And fortunately, in February 23rd, we met with the White House. They let us bring cameras in there, and we delivered a letter that was signed by Republicans and Democrats and celebrities like Kevin Garnett, Alyssa Milano, Danny, and former Governor Gary Johnson. A number of Republican lawmakers signed on this letter, and we hand delivered it to the White House. And we established a rapport with Jared Kushner's office over the clemency program and the clemency committee they created. And so, then coronavirus hit, and it kind of, messed up our momentum. But they're still interested, and I speak to them at least once a week. And so, they're definitely interested in the cannabis guys and gals. And so that's what Mission Green does. Mission Green works with the White House, and we also work with lawmakers and entertainers on producing content and trying to change the law. But our biggest goal is freedom and getting people out of prison.
Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you and to join forces. We won't be seeing the last of each other. We'll be able to help each other. I have direct connections with the Harrer family. That's Jack Harrer's son, and Tommy Chong, and I totally want to follow suit. And there won't be one prisoner left in jail by the time I'm 6 feet under. It's my life's work here, and I'm blessed to be with you, brother. Thank you so much. Well,
yeah, and another thing that we had done to help people, because we obviously like and support what Freedom Grow is doing, because Freedom Grow supported me when I was in prison, supported Luke.
Yeah.
And so we launched a cannabis brand called Reform Cannabis with 2 E's. I put reefer and reform together. And so Reform Cannabis is basically the brand that we're going to use to fundraise for commissary. And then we're going to push that program through Freedom.
Can we white label that? Can we white label that, or can we sponsor Reform? Can we send sell your goodies on our site, or however it's going to? Let's cross pollinate for sure. And I really, really appreciate what you're doing. I really appreciate it. Yeah, let's do a hybrid.
Yeah, definitely. We could do some collab products. We're doing that with like Kaliva. We're doing it I'm actually going to meet Kush Supply Co. tomorrow. Co. is going to do a huge program where they're going to funnel a lot of funding to Mission Green to help us with the commissary and to help us with the freedom campaign, because nothing's more important than freedom, and they know that. And so
right.
We've been doing this for 2 years, and we've had a number of organizations, follow our lead. But I think we're uniquely suited to really get some good work done if we get fully funded because of our direct connections with the White House. So we're really excited to really kick this off and go full steam ahead.
Well, you're talking on IBM.TV. That's my parent company that allowed me to have the only reform show on the universe there, and we're shipping out to Russia. We're in places that don't get social media because they're doing pod TV. They're doing a special cast, and it's really it's the secret mission that we have with my show WEED WEEDsdays. So let's either have you on more, both, and or connect behind the scenes and link up. We'll pollinate in so many different ways, and I'm glad that we are so blessed to have Stephanie bring you on to us. And we're going to go over to Carrie right now, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on board.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And Weldon, do you have any final words for the people out there about hope?
Yeah, I mean, definitely keep hope alive. I had a 55-year mandatory minimum, and I lost every single appeal. And, hope's what kept me alive. Prison is a very depressing place. Without hope, you give up. And definitely there's people out there like Freedom Grow, like Mission Green, and so many organizations that care about you, and we're definitely not going to give up until they're all free.
Fantastic. Everybody, that's Weldon, a former POW, on the streets running hard right now and doing some good work. Welcome, Carrie Cannon. Thank you, Weldon. Welcome, Carrie Cannon. Ham Pam Hooray.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Thank you for the intro, Stephanie. I love you too. So my name is Carrie Cannon. I do a lot of advocating for the release of Washington State federal plant prisoner Lance Glore. He's serving a 10-year federal prison sentence for legal medical cannabis right here in the state. He's got a pending clemency petition at the White House. The current call to action for to support Lance is to email the White House at whitehouse.gov/contact. Just something as simple as I support the petition of Lance Glore, inmate number 44270-086.
Fantastic. What's the secret behind the scenes word on Lance right now?
Last update I got, the pending clemency, the clemency petition is still pending. I'm not real sure if there's any more updates besides that. I need to check in with his mom, who I work very closely with on all the calls to action. We're still sending in photos of people holding up handwritten freelance floor signs to the White House in support of the petition. And also we send those photos to Lance about every 3 months to help, keep his hope alive, to let him know he's not forgotten and that we are out here supporting him and, trying to help him get his freedom back.
And what's the vibration or the feelings that he won't have to spend the full 10 years?
I feel like we can do this. With Craig being released to home confinement after the warden denied him and the public acting on his behalf and, getting him home to home confinement, I think we can do the same thing for Lance and many others.
Right. The guy in Otay Mesa this morning at the beginning of our show, or this afternoon, he said, yeah, why don't they put an ankle bracelet on me and send me home? I'm in detention. Yeah, until the court goes through, whatever. That's what he was saying. And it's all hypocrisy.
Jeff, can Carrie hear me? Can I ask her a question?
Come on in.
I can hear you.
Come on in.
Oh,
yeah.
Carrie, I just want to say, your activism is amazing. And just recently, one of our other board members here, Stacy Tice, who drives around a big green bus, took her bus all the way from up here in Washington all the way down to Arizona. And you were on the bus and you did some amazing prison outreach for Lance. You gathered pictures nationwide, up and down the whole entire West Coast. You're amazing. Not only did you bring attention to Lance Glore, but you helped bring attention to other prisoners in there as well.
Thank you,
So
Kristen.
of course, I just have a question for you. Tell us what it was like being on the cannabis for that long, and just tell us a little bit about your experience.
Oh, it was fun and interesting. It's always amazing to get out and speak to complete strangers about this. Most people assume, in legal states that it really is legal and that no one is still being arrested and prosecuted and that everybody who was is released. One thing I notice is people seem to not have an understanding of the difference of there being federal prisoners, and that across the whole country, whether state legal or not, federal law still applies, and anybody in any state, regardless of it being legal, medical, or recreational, could still, potentially face federal charges. So that was interesting for me to learn, and something, I'm trying to figure out a good, easy, simple way to break it down to help, bring about greater public awareness about that fact.
Right. That's one of my pet peeves about being an activist is people are like, well, I thought it was legal. Well, okay. Not on the federal level. It's not. It's totally not legal on the federal level.
Right. And it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around. And I find that, the simpler you can break it down for people to understand, the more effective it's going to be.
I have one more question for you. That bus is ran by Stacy Tice, whose Uncle Gary was shot down by the federal government during a raid back in, I believe, 1994, 96. And so that's what drives Stacy's heart. She's associated, a board member here with Freedom Grow. She always calls, the bus magical. I actually spent 10 days on the bus as well, right after my dad died, and it helped mend my heart. Did you have any of the magical benefits that the bus brings to you? Did you feel that spirit?
Oh, yeah.
Our
Actually,
fallen heroes behind it?
The first time I ever saw the bus, which was when she was towed from Ohio to Washington State for repair, just walking around it, I could feel the energy and the love, and you can just feel it. And when you get inside and you're looking at everybody who signed it, it's just, at first it can be kind of overwhelming because, that bus is magical, and it certainly has absorb the energy of so many wonderful people who've been on there and who are, fighting for the good cause to put an end to this prohibition.
Cool. Well, thanks for going on that journey with Stacy for Justice. I thought you represented our prisoners very well.
Oh, thank you. And you know what, Kristen, the first signature I saw when I did get on the bus was yours right in the very back.
Oh, my dad. It says, "Rest in peace, Dad."
Yeah.
What?
Man, that's pretty cool.
What if we get a reunion with all of the ex-prisoners and we do a cannabis? All the ex-prisoners.
I'm sure Stacy would love that.
But I'm just saying, all the ex-prisoners, and we get them on the cannabis, and we have beautiful food, and we just do a cruise when COVID calms down, and go from Seattle to LA and do a tour and do a show. We'll do WEED Wednesday show throughout the time, and I'll film us, and we'll go live, and it's about having the technology man on your side. Let's do it. I'm here. But I'm just saying, we raise the funds to do that. It could be an episode. In order to
have that happen, Weldon just texted me that he has 3 friends who work in the Office of American Innovation. They're the ones that are over the clemency program.
Right.
And address your letters to Jared Kushner, Kushner. And he said that would be the most helpful thing to do to get
Great
our
advice. Thank you.
That's amazing information.
Right. Okay, I got most of that. What was?
Okay, it's the Office of American Innovation. And his name is
the White House.
Excuse me?
Oh, he's still on the phone.
Yeah, but Jared Kushner.
Office of American Innovation.
Oh,
is at
there
the
he
White
is.
House. Yeah. So.
Dude,
Yeah.
Is that Jared Kushner? I mean, the Jared Kushner?
Yeah. So they put him over the clemency, and all criminal justice reform is done out of the Office of American Innovation. And so to be more effective, I would direct the letters there, or you could send one to both the White House and the Office of American Innovation, just to make sure, that they're on their radar, because, that's where the clemency committee
and do we send in specific humans that we want out, or and a global reform?
Well, anyone that's filed for clemency, I think you definitely want that office on the radar. For the person you're advocating.
Okay, so it's I understand. It's a specific advocation. You find who you want to advocate and send it to the White House and the American Innovation.
Yeah,
we'll put that information on our website when we launch our website as well.
Yeah, perfect. Just a lot of people, it's going to be more effective than there, which is general White House address.
Right.
And on a note on Lance Floor, I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but I'm actually preparing a compassionate release motion for him.
Yay!
And it should be filed pretty soon. So, because when me and Luke came up with this idea, we were like, this can work for cannabis, because I was, intimately involved in the passage of the First Step Act. And so when they amended the compassionate release provision, we immediately thought this could help cannabis, people because so much has changed since they were originally incarcerated that we can make that same argument that others are making for compassionate release without COVID. You know, COVID might help, but even without COVID, and I think Luke's is the first thing. And if Luke's wins, you know, or Lance's, whoever wins first, I think it'll set a precedent that everyone can follow. So
that will be awesome.
You guys, I just want to add to that real quick. Luke and Lance, they were both involved in the 2011 raids that my father was involved in, that the Duvall family was involved in, that about 70 to 80 other families nationwide were involved in. So those raids during those years are still holding our people down. So it's kind of cool to see that they have a chance to get out now.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Weldon. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Kristen. I'm going to go around from one side to the other. Any final words, Kristen?
Rest in peace, my father. Rest in peace to Eugene Fisher, who spent 25 years of a life sentence. He fought his way out. He was one of those. In fact, everybody on this call here pretty much might know Eugene. Most of us do, but we used to have together that everybody, we love Eugene. Rest in peace, Eugene. Rest in peace, Uncle Gary, to Stacy's uncle. Rest in peace to all the people who have passed away over this plant in horrific conditions, or have went to prison and passed away or fought for it. We want to say rest in peace. That's all.
And where can people find you?
Facebook, probably, maybe Instagram. We're launching our website, so we're gonna have some blogs on there.
For Freedom Grow.
freedomgrowforever.org. We had to change some stuff, so we're working out some things, and we're gonna launch a new website soon. So we'll
fantastic.
That real soon.
Fantastic. Yeah. Stephanie, any final words? Thank you, Kristen Floor.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're gonna launch Freedom Grow in like very soon. So, but you can reach me on Instagram, Let Freedom Grow, or on Facebook at Stephanie Lett. And I hope everybody rests in peace inside too.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thomas?
Yeah, I hope everybody out there stays safe. Just be healthy, follow the guidelines, and live to fight another day. Yeah.
Hey, and Carrie?
I just want to encourage everybody to take action, get involved, do what you can to help support. All efforts matter. You have a voice, and it's powerful, and the more voices, the more powerful.
And everybody today, you're welcome to come back as often as you want on the show. It's a roundtable, and it's the same link, hint, hint, secret, secret, nudge, nudge, nudge. And we're gonna sign off now. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1. Everybody, thank you for a wonderful show. 3, 2,
Bye,
F schedule 1. And thanks for bringing Weldon on. And you guys are all beautiful. And freedom. And freedom does grow, and good to see you, Kristen and Carrie.
Good to see you too, Jeff.
Yeah. Okay. See you soon. Welcome to Weed Wednesdays, produced by International Broadcast Media, better known as IBM.TV. I'm your host, Jeff Eichen, human rights advocate and social activist, fighting for government deregulation of weed and the release of all nonviolent criminals incarcerated for possession of marijuana, moving violations, parking tickets, IRS debt, etc. Here on Weed WEEDsday, we keep the public informed about all things weed related, including festivals and legislation surrounding regulating the growth of hemp. Today, my guests are...
There's something happening here. There's something happening.